All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of the Guy Panic Podcast. I know we've had a bit of a break here, but hopefully, the stuff that was kind of leading to that has been sorted. Lots to catch up on, lots to cover. But I did go through my contacts and my back channels through the George Soros Foundation, and got in touch with a little-known somebody to come on the show. He's a pretty important fellow, and he just got online. Mr. President, is that you?
It's me, yes. It's me. Guy, how are you?
Oh, I'm good, Mr. President. How about you?
Oh, that's just wonderful. It's so lovely. It's great to be here on the Gay Panic Defense Podcast. And I've heard you've had some questions for me, and I certainly trust you far more than the crooked media press.
Yep. Lots of important questions. So, from the top, a big one. You recently posted that you plan on enacting a 100% tariff on all foreign-made movies, hoping to increase movie production in the United States. What exactly led you to this action?
Well, I know the press, the slimy, disgusting press media, they want to say it was one of my great Hollywood ambassadors who gave me the idea, but they're wrong. They're so wrong. It was me. I chose it. I thought it up. Basically, I've been watching various films as of late and lots of movies because I've been on lots and lots of plane rides, and we like planes, don't we?
Yeah, I've heard Air Force One is practically a Cineplex right now because of all the movies you've watched.
Oh, you better believe it. All the movies, gorgeous American-made movies. I do skip the boring parts, but that's okay. But see, we were watching some films, some various films, and on this 8-hour flight we had going to Europe. You know that? You know Europe? It was just me, JD, and Elon, and all. Elon had this horrid piece of shit film from China or something. I don't know. You can tell because those Celestials back there, they like to have all their movies in the animated formats. Like Tom and Jerry or Song of the South. It was pretty bad. I don't even know what the hell it was called. The Demon Prayer Train or whatever. A complete wash, let me tell you. It was so sick and so bad.
So you aren't a fan of foreign films in general?
Oh, yes, variously, yes. Well, Elon told me that this version was in English, and I didn't quite understand what he meant saying the movie was from Japan, but the little characters, they spoke in English. But Elon's a smart guy. Maybe it was a little too complex for me to tell what was going on, because you see a movie made in Japan, the great Japan. I love Shinzo. God bless his soul. The great Japan had these movies, but they're usually speaking Japanese. They always speak Japanese, and we like that. But in this case, the little Japanese characters, the little lady in the movie, she was speaking English. It didn't make any sense.
Okay.
But yes, we watched that wretched piece of work film. I don't know the little boy in it, Tanjiro or whatever I think he was called. He was sort of shirtless in one part of the movie, and JD, he gets a little tight in the pants when he sees stuff like that. If you catch my drift. But yes, we finished that, and then I chose the next movie. It's sort of a little game we play. I usually never let JD pick.
Well, that sounds fun.
Yes, well, let me tell you, you watch a real great American movie, just made in America by Americans. It was fantastic.
What was the movie?
It's called Kick-Assia, the Great Kick-Assia, made by one Doug Walker. You may have heard of him. Also known as the Nostalgia Critic. We like that. It's a great name, Nostalgia Critic. You get it because he's a film reviewer like old Siskel and Ebert, but he does it for movies that are old and not new. And I like old movies because they're usually a lot better. There's less Chinese people and blacks in them and all sorts of things. So yes, I put Cacassia on, and I didn't skip one pot, not one single pot. Usually you'll see the lying media say I skip all my movies, but I don't. I only skip the boring parts. Usually when I watch these films, I skip past all the boring parts and skip right to the stuff where the women start getting naked and the guys start shooting their guns. But not this one. Let me tell you, oh, it's very special. Angry Joe was there. So was Linkara. Great Linkara. I love him. And guess what? Even little Film Brain was there. I love Film Brain. He's so loyal. He's so faithful. What a star. And the ever-wise Bennett the Sage, who I model my own counsel on. I don't like those little cartoons he reviews, but I can respect his ethics. It's very good. It's very great.
So watching that movie is what really gave you the idea to do these movie tariffs?
Yes, it was quite inspirational. Imagine an entire country being founded and controlled by one man's strong vision, being torn apart, just really ripped apart by those nasty, greedy people, ruining a man's perfect vision. It's harrowing, really. Some heavy stuff there, and it was very relatable to me.
How did your colleagues respond to the film? I assume they watched it with you.
Yes, well, Elon was. Well, we'll say just Elon was in his own place. He's not too happy when he doesn't get to pick the movies and TV shows. He gets very grumpy afterwards. He's not happy at all. We call him Grumpy Elon. That's right, folks. We call him because he doesn't have anything nice to say when it's not something he chooses. It's fine. It's Grumpy Elon. He likes it. He's a great guy. He builds all those big rockets by himself, and they go a little too high. They go a little too high for my taste, but it's all right. It's good. It's American rockets.
So he didn't have anything to say about the movie, Elon Musk. He didn't have anything to say that maybe could have also inspired the tariffs.
No, not quite. No, he was a bit more focused on his what do they call it? It's stimming. He was stimming on his iPad. He was watching Coco Melon and VTubers. He calls them, I don't know what they are. They look like dames, but they're also cartoons. He loves cartoons, Elon. He loves them a lot. He watches more cartoons than his kid, I swear. He gets a bit nippy when we take any of his tablets away. He carries multiple. He gets a bit angry. He bites a bit. He bites. I don't know why he bites a bit. He's not too verbal when he's like that. And we'd say, Elon, we're going on television. You can't have those on your television. You have to put it away. You have to speak in public. And he'd say a few slurs, usually about the blacks, and then give them to us. It's just a hassle, but he's still a great guy, Elon. He's still fantastic, Elon.
Did anyone else watch the film?
Oh yes, JD. We love JD. He was there, and he was also enraptured in the movie. He would sit there, rubbing himself between the thighs over his pants when he saw those talented actors like Angry Joe or Film Brain, just really going at it. But whenever we saw someone like the nostalgia chick, the great nostalgia chick, great pair on her. When he saw her, he started getting real mad. He started scratching the seats. I swear, we have to buy new chairs every time we fly Air Force One because JD just really scratches at the seats whenever he sees a single woman, even his own wife. I don't get it. Sounds like his damage. It's fine. It's fine. It's just a little work quirk, if you call it a work quirk, and that's good. I say to him, JD, why'd you stop? There's this nice looking lady on the television screen with a real great pair, and he'd scowl at me, and he'd ask repeatedly over and over again to skip the parts with the women, to skip them. I think one time he did throw the remote at the television, and he broke it, and the so special, and the Secret Service got a little antsy. They pulled on him. They had him trained in their sights. They thought he was throw it at me, but we de-escalated. That's what we call it, de-escalation. All right. It's quite strange. It's quite strange, but it's good. After we watched Kick-Ass, he did ask to watch Brokeback Mountain again. He did ask for that. I don't get it. It's not that good of a picture, in my opinion.
So you didn't watch that?
No, I hate that movie. It's awful. I told him we weren't watching any more of that nonsense ever again, and he got real mad. He stormed off in the huff. He spent 6 hours in the Air Force One toilet, and there's only one toilet, so there was a big line. There was a big line right outside the door, and it was just JD in there all by himself, no clue what he was doing. No, after he left, I put on better films like Showgirls. You ever see Showgirls? It's fantastic.
Did that film also inspire the tariffs?
No, I just used that film to jerk off.
Oh, that's great.
It sure is.
So, how is your tariff on foreign films supposed to, work, like physically?
Well, you see, they just make pictures nowadays that not only produce them overseas, but they also, they have the same camera crews and the production and the factories that make all the great big film reels. I collect those. You see, I got about 80 of them in Trump Tower. They're fantastic, but they used to be made in America, and they aren't any longer. It's real bad. It's real bad, folks. We don't like that. But they did also have they just came out this new way to watch movies. It's on a much smaller device. I think it's called a Betamax tape. Betamax, or even I've heard VHS. That's also possible format, and CDs, like how the kids use the CDs in the cars now instead of the stereo. It's a bit strange, but they use that instead of the radio.
Mr. President, the VHS tapes are like completely outdated. Like they aren't. We like you find those in the dumpster. Like, what are you talking about?
What?
Yeah, most people, they just use the internet to like live stream or even pirate, like steal movies, and like they watch them on their TVs and computers and phones and stuff now without having to actually physically have the movie.
That's not possible. A film reel, it couldn't possibly fit inside of a cell phone. That's absurd. You're speaking nonsense.
Did you think you'd be tariffing like film reels and tapes and stuff, like at the harbor, sir?
I think we're done here.
Wait, before you hang up, sir. Do you have anything to say about the current situation in India and Pakistan? Things are getting really heated. It's getting a bit crazy. I had actually like lots more questions about like the Pope and other stuff like that.
Well, for that, all I can say is play fair and no cheap hits. Nothing that's unfair, like the trade deals we've been giving up with China and Europe and other horrible countries like that. Nothing unfair whatsoever. But I have to go. Goodbye.
Mr. President, he left. All right, folks. Well, I planned on having, we'll just call him T. How about that? Yeah, we'll just call him T. I planned on having him on the whole show, but think he got a bit offended that I explained streaming services to him. I think he did not like that one bit, but that's okay. I'll just wing the rest of the show. Okay, so news stories. Yeah, there's that Pakistan India stuff where they're just lobbing missiles at each other and downing planes over Kashmir. Now, I'm not what you'd call insanely knowledgeable about India and Pakistan. I can tell you that it's a really stupid conflict that doesn't. It's just not necessary. It's just nothing. I don't know why. I don't know why they hate each other so much. They're the same people. It's just one happens to be Sunni Muslim and the others are like Hindu nationalists. I know that both governments are led by like, assholes who'd love to start a war and would love to, seize further control of their governments, but I really don't like that when it happens to be two nuclear missile armed states. Now, are we going to have a nuclear exchange from India and Pakistan? No, because despite how much they say they're lying, India is not lying, actually. India is not lying, sir, because they aren't going to use their nukes. They aren't. That's stupid. They're not that dumb. They know if anyone uses those, it's fucking game over. All right. Maybe the nukes are fake people are right. You ever hear about that? That's like a weird conspiracy theory about like, actually nuclear weapons aren't real. They are made up. The globalist elites have made up this way to cheat us out of fair and honest warfare to make up world peace and domination. Because have you seen a nuclear bomb go off? No, you've only seen media about nuclear bombs going off, which is all fake. Yeah, that's a dumb conspiracy theory. It's not true. I think nuclear weapons are real and they're dangerous, and I I don't think countries should have that. What's okay? A bit of an aside, but like, what's that? That fucking freak idiot Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene was like posting some like usual stupid like modern conservative warfare is always bad, our international relations are all bad type of nonsense. But in it, she said Saudi Arabia has nuclear weapons. Now, it's generally known that they don't. Usually, the country that says they don't, but 100% do, is Israel. Israel most definitely has nuclear weapons somewhere, but Saudi Arabia is not one of those countries that do because they don't really have much of a publicly known enrichment program, or any of that stuff, right? Now, is that her revealing state secrets about the United States giving their allies, the Saudis, nuclear weapons? Probably not. I think she's just dumb and has like the idea in her head that they have nuclear weapons because that would be a pretty decent conspiracy theory. But it'd be funny if it was actually an actual like state secret that she just blasted off Twitter. But she also believes in the Jewish space laser, which is real, and I know several of the like actual operators for it. Right, they're who fund this channel, but um, she's not supposed to say that, folks. So if you ever hear anyone discuss Saudis having nukes, just tell them it's misinfo and to do their own research and to trust the science, okay? Other news stories. They're voting for the Pope, and 2 days in a row, those goddamn papists, those cardinals, all 133 of them, they went to that big room the first day, yesterday. This is being recorded on Thursday, the 8th of May. But yesterday on the 7th, they went in and they voted, and it was inconclusive. So there's drama that we can't see. The movie Conclave could probably give us an insight into how this process works, but I haven't seen that, unfortunately. Maybe I'll see it. I don't know. But it didn't happen yesterday, and it hasn't happened today. You'll probably like, okay, so the way we know about the Pope being elected or not is if the smoke that comes out of the Vatican is black or white. If it's black, that means nope, no Pope yet. If it's white, that means they've chosen. Now, who should be the Pope? Well, I think it'd be cool if we had that Filipino like liberal guy because he seems pretty cool and not like insane. It's not gonna be the American dude. There are like 3 Italians, one guy from Ghana, and then one guy from Hungary. It's not gonna be the Hungarian because that's just stupid. There is one Italian named Pizza Bello, which is awesome. Which is like that's some Punch Out tier naming. That's like the name you see an Italian guy have in like Ace Attorney. So that's cool, and it wouldn't be that bad to have a fucking Pope named Pizza Bello. That'd be kind of awesome. But if we're gonna have a far right guy, it could at very least be the black guy from Africa because that would make so many people mad. Can you imagine the anger that like JD Vance or Peter Thiel would have if the Pope was black, they would hurt themselves. It would be awesome. A million anime right wingers would bash their skulls against the wall out of anger that their epic organized religion decided to have a vote, and they made a black guy the Pope because they don't care about race that much. But the said anime fans and other right wing idiots and a lot of pseudo intellectuals or trad calves too, like they would hate that. So I think that would be cool and epic, and they like again, Filipino guy first, Asian Pope, awesome. Second guess, Black Pope. I know he's like probably a very detestable person when it comes to his actual like political social views, but if we're gonna have a monster, it should at least be the guy who's like gonna make right wingers very upset. So we had that. What else is in the news? Well, another like military news story here. So you know how the United States has been like for like a year now, over a year, ever since the whole October 7th thing, we've been fighting, quote unquote, the Houthis. Now, by fighting, we don't mean like actual boots on the ground. We're gonna kill the Houthis with Marines. Why don't we do that? Well, okay. First off, why are we fighting the Houthis? Because they have a very tactical position over there in the Red Sea. Because everything that goes through the Suez Canal, which is a very busy port, has to go past the Arabian Peninsula, where they have to go past Yemen, which is where the Houthis are, since Yemen is not a stable country. And don't worry, the United States and the Saudis have worked tirelessly to make it an unstable country that would have the Houthis act the way they do. The Houthis are there, and they, are gonna to support resistance against Israel that Hamas and like Hezbollah have and such. They're gonna, attack Western shipping as a bargaining chip, saying if you don't stop supporting Israel and have them back down, when a ceasefire happens, we'll stop attacking your international shipping. And as you can imagine, countries get very angry when you threaten international shipping. So the United States, the America's world police, the world's police, with the world's biggest navy, has been using that navy to go attack the Houthis. Now, again, by attack, they don't mean like send in soldiers to go shoot them, right? Why won't we do that? Well, because that would be a very bad PR thing, okay? You understand. Even though Trump could probably do that, because I don't think he's going to run again. I don't think he's going to go for a third term. That's not like legal. And I know that hasn't stopped him before, but like genuinely, it's like a joke they do to say they're going to run for a third term. Anyways, if he does that, if he sends like US soldiers on the ground to go shoot Houthis, several soldiers, like lots, will die, and that will make him super unpopular. No one likes a president who starts or joins a war. It's not popular. I can imagine there was a lot of people who didn't want to vote for Biden or Harris because of the, U.S. hawkism with Israel and even the more justifiable support for Ukraine. So there's that. They probably wouldn't want to like actually threaten American lives. But what we can do is spend billions of dollars dropping bombs on targets that usually are either completely innocent civilians or have like some effect, but like aren't, not going to get rid of the Houthis. It'll just limit their ability to do things like attack shipping, right? Which is why we have aircraft carriers. Aircraft carriers can launch planes, and those planes can shoot missiles at targets. Except we've lost, I think, 3 planes so far to the Houthis. The first one, I think, was like some sort of accident, and that was like months and months ago. But in the last 9 days, we've lost 2 FA-18 fighter jets, or air attack jets. They're not like a fighter jet. They're more to be like a multi-use jet meant to carry payloads on enemy targets, but also has some fighter capabilities. They're the mainstay of the U.S. Navy, like air fleet, right? They're not sending F-35s; those cost too much money. So they lost two of them. One was like not secured on the flight deck of the aircraft carrier, which is, I guess the carrier was like moving, high maneuvering, like they're trying to evade something the Houthis were launching at them. So the carrier is doing like high speed turns and the aircraft wasn't secured, so it just fell into the fucking ocean. So that's cool. And someone 100% is getting their ass chewed out over that. But then this most recent one, there was a pilot trying to land on the carrier. And you know how like when an aircraft lands on an aircraft carrier, as like a hook, and that hook is meant to catch a wire. There's several wires, and those wires then pull the aircraft back to slow it down so it gets caught by the carrier. Apparently, the aircraft missed all the wires, and it just went overboard. I think the pilot's fine, but like, that's two aircraft carriers. I think someone like did the money, like it's like 70 or 60 million dollars in the ocean forming coral reefs. That's so embarrassing. And it's not a good look for Pete Hegseth, who's also saying he's gonna fire like 20% of our like senior military staff because he wants more war fighters and less generals. Now, the Trump administration and Pete Hegseth in general, they really, really like the term warfighter. Why is that? Because it sounds different than soldier. Because the public and they do not like the average military grunt. I'm sorry. Back in like 2001 and 3 and even the 2010s, most Americans would have some sort of weird veneration for military members, right? They're out there fighting the evil terrorists in Iraq and Afghanistan. We have to respect them. It was called troop worship. It was a real thing. But ever since those wars started being just endless slogging messes that didn't do anything, just waste lots of money and killed lots of people, over time, troop worship went down. Also, thanks to things like social media, the public understands more accurately what soldiers are up to, and lots of them are not actually the guys who run up and shoot people with guns. It turns out that the vast majority of military roles is not that. Most people in the military are either maintaining something, organizing logistics for something, or just cleaning something. And if they're not doing that, they're in charge of the guys who do that, like an officer or an NCO, right? And, that's a very important for the functioning of a giant global military force, but the public doesn't give a fuck because that's not a cool thing. They're not in danger doing so. So, troop worship had been decreasing, but getting replaced by operator worship. By operator, we mean special forces, U.S. Marines, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, First Recon, shit like that. Like the guys who do epic things in the movies like Lone Survivor or American Sniper, right? Those guys have been getting real big, and there's all sorts of media projects surrounding like Navy SEALs who get out. If you're a Navy SEAL and you get, honorably discharged, you have a media career available to you. You can just do that. If you have like the ability to speak in public and not sound like an idiot, you can just have a media career, right? Because even though like the wars they were involved in have been like, unpopular, people still understand that a Navy SEAL is a guy who had to do that stupid, weird, extra SEAL training program where they have to go like lay in the beach for like 2 days or get hosed down and yelled at and like punched a lot or whatever the fuck, right? And they're in cool movies. So yeah, we've had a lot of operator worship. I assume the vast majority of like small businesses focusing on shit like coffee is run by a Green Beret or a Navy SEAL. Because it's like epic, tactical, badass, don't give a fuck, anti-PC coffee, like Black Rifle or some shit. Or Range 15 clothing brand, or all that garbage. Anyways, so that was a big thing in the late 2010s and the 2020s. But now we have a bit of an impasse here, right? Because even with those guys, conservatives, specifically conservatives who understand that those guys are still, for the most part, like administrative government cucks, right? Oh, they have rules of engagement. Oh, they have things they have to do besides shoot people, you know? So they use the term warfighter. Why? Because warfighter sounds like a guy who goes out there and stabs somebody, and not some guy who goes out there and organizes boxes. I would not be fucking surprised, and I'm telling you this right now. If in like the next 10 years, you'll have some fucking conservatives saying we should actually end like veteran benefits, like the GI Bill, for example, for non-combat soldiers, non-combat billets, right? If you didn't serve in a combat billet, nope, you ain't getting it, because they like the idea of soldiers being guys who kill people and not soldiers being guys who organize the logistics to end up having someone get killed, right? And in one hand, warfighter maybe kind of brings back to light the idea that a soldier, his job is to kill people, right? Especially in the United States military, your job at any point in time is to support the effort of killing someone, however vague and disjointed it is, because you're not going to be the person actually firing the bullet. But oh, you signed the form that helped get that bullet sent somewhere to be fired, whatever, or maintain the ship that then launched the aircraft that go bomb the Houthis and then fail to land and fall in the ocean. Yeah, I don't know. They like that term. They want it because soldiers also. A soldier sounds like they're accountable to a people. A soldier is someone who works for the Ooh, that's the other thing. A soldier works for a government, right? They are, but a warfighter is just a guy who fights a war, and that could be a private military contractor too. Ooh, they love private military contractors. You ever play Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance? That game, as ridiculous as it is, did touch upon the increased use of PMCs, because a PMC is not the public. It's not accountable for anyone, right? You tell somebody, hey, a soldier that works for the government got killed while fighting an enemy that the government chose to fight. You're like, and people go like, oh, that's awful. The government shouldn't send them there. But if you hear, hey, a private military contractor who volunteered for this company to, go out in dangerous areas when paid for by a government got killed on an assignment that the government paid for them to work at, people go, oh, well, he made his choice. That's his line of work. I mean, I imagine that happens. Because, you're not voting for the guy who runs the PMC. You vote for the guy who might be choosing to pay them, but you're not voting for it. It's not in your head. You don't. When you hear private military contract, you don't think, oh, some 18-year-old from like rural Pennsylvania or Alabama or some shit. No, you think of like, oh, some creep who works at the Kill Gun Factory store, whatever the fuck. You think that. So warfighter includes them. Soldier does not, because a soldier, again, is very, at the end of the day, also works for a civilian government. Warfighters don't necessarily entail that. So yeah, that's my damage with that term. What else has been going on? We talk about India, the Pope. Oh yeah, the racism Kickstarter. Okay, how do I say this? All right, so I guess this altercation happened at a park somewhere where this like white single mother was there for a kid at a park, and at that same park was some like 5-year-old like kid who happened to be black, who pretty sure they confirmed that they had like some sort of developmental disorder, right? Like they have genuine autism, something like that, and that kid was trying to grab at her stuff, right? Not steal, but kids just grab things, right? You put a kid in the store, they aren't thinking, I'm gonna steal this and hurt somebody. They think, oh, cool thing. Especially a 5-year-old with developmental disorders, right? And she apparently got real fucking mad, like real mad, and called the kid and the person who was filming the altercation the N-word several times. Now, this woman, obviously, when that first happens, people post the video around saying, oh, look at this crazy white lady. But there has been this, like, I'm not sure it's a GoFundMe. It's some stupid website that lets you send money to somebody, which there's a million of those, but just a direct money sending thing. And this lady's gotten like 600,000 bucks donated to her, right? She's instantly rich because she was a white woman calling up a black child the N word, like harshly, hard R, just anger N word, right? And there's been all this hoo ha about fucking right wing commentators discussing it, right? What's funny is that the Daily Wire had both Ben Shapiro called this woman like a trashy, racist idiot. But then above him is Matt Walsh saying, actually, this is epic. Actually, you know what? We can't stand for this anymore, right? And it's just this another case of like fucking shitty deteriorating like race relations. First off, I will say this much. I don't think this is indicative of Americans becoming more racist, right? This is probably more of a case of an already established racist person just getting filmed being racist, or they have become more racist because they are online all day watching other shitty news stories, right? And that's the fucking thing that I hate the most about the news media. I mean, everyone already knows about the whole like bias. Like they'll have like, oh, this white guy did this horrible thing or was killed by this cop. Here's him with his family at a nice park, and then the same thing will happen for a black guy, and they're like, here's him holding a gun or like looking dangerous, sort of fuck, even though it doesn't paint his actual picture as a person the same as the white person's photos did, you know. But like it again, who gave her this money? Where does money come from? I assume it came from like probably just like one very wealthy person. Well, actually, I don't know for sure. Maybe the website has like the individual donors. Those also could be plants, because somebody like Elon Musk or Peter Thiel or any other like rich freak would have a vested interest in doing so. Why? Because racial tensions are a great tool to make people of the same class dislike each other and not dislike those above them. It's a very classic tactic, right? Because it's a much more blatant, really easy, if you're really stupid, way of being angry at people. And everyone loves being angry at people, but, instead of being angry at someone for like their social class or their economic class and all the like, stuff that entails in terms of them being some sort of social parasite, being angry at somebody because of their race is way easier. And that's why the dumbest, stupidest people on the planet do so, right? They're all idiots. But we have Matt Walsh on fucking his epic show saying, what's wrong with the N word? I say it all the time. I mean, he doesn't say it on the show, but like he says it like, why can't I say it? Why can't I say it? If they could say it, why can't I say it? Just the dumbest arguments you've ever heard in your entire life. Like the arguments from like actual idiot children for why they say the N word when it's obviously being used by this like white lady as a targeted attack against a child, right? Like it's just such scumbag behavior. God, I hate them. So yeah, you might see more backdraft from that. That lady, by the way, what's really funny is that like for the longest time and still right now, a big thing about like online right wingers and right wingers in general is their massive distaste for women. They don't like women. They don't like any women, right? They really don't like single mothers, like this lady was, and they don't like women with like tattoos and who act in like a generally trashy way, right? Which this lady has tattoos and is also trashy. They've set that aside to be like, actually, she's epic because she was racist. Just cool. There's been a lot of fucking I've seen a lot of people doing shit like, I may be racist, but you're mean to me type posting online. And it's just really cool in my opinion. Ugh. Anyways, what else we have in store here? Well, besides news and race war drama, I did rewatch some movies. And by rewatch, I mean more like I've seen them on occasion, but haven't really focused and watched them. And those movies are, you remember those like really shitty Peter Jackson Hobbit movies? Yeah, I've been watching those. They fucking suck. I'm sorry. Some people have fond memories of those Hobbit movies, right? Hobbit movies, because they were teenagers when it came out, and it was epic Lord of the Rings. Still, there's cool Hobbit, and there are genuinely some really good scenes in the movie. But for me, nuh-uh, bad shit. Never again. They ain't that good. First off, why the hell is it 3 movies? That's dumb. They've had to add a ton of shit, and especially the third movie felt pretty bloated. The second movie was a bit more economical and straightforward, but the third movie was real bloated, and so was the first, really. Because, like, okay, first off, I don't like the CGI orcs. That's stupid. Get your guys in your rubber suits and have them fight, and it's cool, right? And Lord of the Rings, in the Peter Jackson, like, Lord of the Rings movies, they have rather cartoonish and stupid action scenes, right? They have orcs throwing a shield at a guy's neck, and he gets pinned to a tree. They have Viggo Mortensen throwing a knife at a guy, and the guy deflects it with his sword, which is a real stunt, but or actually not even a stunt, it was an accident, but And they have Legolas taking a shield and surfing down a staircase, shooting his bow while doing so, right? Like, it's stupid. But those were all real stunts, right? That was a man holding a thing, doing a thing, right? So it's fun. It's cool. They had to set that up, and it's really nice craftsmanship from a movie studio. They can tell that the creation of was like really like loving and caring for, right? It was great as like a movie. It's like a thing you see in the movie. It's cool. But when the scene is like the dwarves and Bilbo and Gandalf fighting a trillion CGI goblins who are nothing in a big wide shot of more CGI in a big CGI cavern, it's not that good. When it was the shot of the CGI dwarves fighting the CGI elves, it's not that good either. When your main bad guy is this big orc who's not even a real fucking person, it's stupid. And the funny part is that there are plenty of scenes in those movies where the orcs are guys in rubber masks and elaborate outfits, and they look fucking awesome. The orcs have always looked fucking awesome when they're real guys in costumes. When it's fucking CGI, it's boring bullshit, right? What else is wrong with those movies? Besides all the shit they added on to it, I would also say that, like, Bilbo isn't really that important in the movies, right? The second movie, he spends almost the entire thing just being a guy who's sitting there staring at all this stuff happening and not being a part of it. The only things he did in that movie was he climbed a tree to go get people unlost. He stabbed the spider, and then he freed the dwarves from the barrels, and then he talked to Smaug, and that's it. The third movie, he did even less. He was just a guy who was there and saw things happen and like tried to confront the dwarves, but that was it. Now, there have been great scenes in these movies, right? Usually character dialogue heavy scenes. Like, everyone, I'm pretty sure, really likes the scenes where the dwarves come to Bilbo's house and they, are all rambunctious, and he's getting stressed out and he has a panic attack and stuff. Those are really good scenes. And there's good scenes like when Bilbo talks to Gollum, because Andy Serkis is amazing as Gollum, but like, so much bullshit is just nonsense. Like, I hated all the elf love story stuff. I mean, it's just, why? Why? Why are these movies so long? Why were they shot in the high frame rate? That's stupid. And I mean, I assume all these criticisms are old, but watching them from start to finish was not that great of an experience. And, Peter Jackson's kind of a corny motherfucker, too. He used, that Wilhelm scream thing? Everyone knows the Wilhelm scream. It's this annoying sound effect of the guy going, "Wow!" It's been used in Star Wars and Indiana Jones and a bunch of other movies, and also in the Lord of the Rings movies Peter Jackson made. He also used them in The Hobbit. In the second movie, he used it twice. And the second time he used it, it was a scene where this kind of, or how do spoilers for an old fucking movie, I guess. Gandalf is at the evil Dol Guldur fortress. He's confronting the necromancer Sauron, and Thorin's dad is there, and he's all crazy. Sauron decrazifies him, and then they're getting attacked by Sauron's evil shadow magic, and fucking what's his name? His name Durin? I forget his name. The Thorin's dad tells Gandalf, "If you see my boy, tell me I love him," right? Because he's scared he's gonna die because Sauron's attacking them. And then he gets grabbed by the evil shadow magic and sent to go get killed. He dies. But as he's grabbed, after saying, "Tell my son I love him," to Gandalf before he dies, after being lucid for like an hour, like his life has been returned to him, but he's being attacked and he's gonna die. And his last thoughts are about his son that he thinks that he failed. Before he dies, they do the fucking Wilhelm scream. And I genuinely got mad. I actually got mad. I was like, motherfucker, why? That's not when you use it. You use the Wilhelm scream when you have a little short shot of an unimportant bad guy or ally, just someone who's not important getting killed or falling down or some shit, But no, not a character important in a scene who's having this whole emotional moment, and then he gets killed. You're supposed to feel bad for him. Nah, use the fucking Wilhelm scream. It's so stupid. I'm so mad. Fuck that movie. Anyways, yeah, don't watch those. If you want to see fucking Orlando Bloom again as Legolas, go nuts. But for the most part, they ain't that good. And they're gonna make a Search for Gollum movie in 2026. And that's being directed by Andy Serkis, so it might be good. I know there's a whole backstory. I know there was that Gollum video game, which was awful. Maybe they're adapting the same source material that comes from. But I hope they don't drag out... I mean, is Ian McKellen even alive? Okay, so they can drag back Ian McKellen and a much older Viggo Mortensen, I guess, because I know Aragorn was a guy who went to go search for Gollum in the first place. But maybe it's gonna be better because there's no Peter Jackson there and there's less fucking CGI nonsense slop. I'll even use the S word for it, slop. But yeah. Anyways, gang, that's it for the podcast. Thanks for listening. Hopefully, production of things goes much smoother. Sorry for the wait. Bye.